it brings me to a very important thing to talk about with you guys, especially wedding DJs, especially like as wedding DJs in general, right? Because traveling can be a little stressful, you know? It can be a little stressful traveling when you got a wedding. You be like missing a club gig or missing like other stuff. There's a lot of DJ events that like, you don't want to miss, but you can quote unquote make it happen. It's not like end of the world type shit. But I always say every wedding is the Super Bowl, and yeah, you can't be missing no damn weddings. You just can't miss no. It's just not an option. It's just not a damn option. So when you're traveling, you're a wedding DJ. There's a lot of things you got to consider. So I figure I'd give you guys some tips on this. If you're traveling and you got a wedding coming up, like me, I flew back and I had a wedding the next day. So I want to give you guys some tips, some things to go by that will definitely help you not run into some shit, okay? Number one, do not trust airlines. You always have to have a plan B, just in case, okay? Plan Bs can suck. Plan Bs could really, really, really suck. And sometimes you got to do them. Sometimes you got to just rent a car and drive and drive and drive all the way back. Sometimes that could be an option, people. It's not a joke, okay? So one of my greatest tips for you guys, book your vacation accordingly, okay? Always give enough time to drive just in case you have to. Now, I didn't have to drive at all, thank goodness. But you bet your ass that I knew that it was 16 hours away. I knew that I had to be on the road by 8 p.m. Memphis time for me to get back and have plenty of time to get my trailer together and go do this wedding. I knew the time I had to leave. So if my flight got delayed, anything happened, I knew what my cutoff was, where I had to be like, all right, I'm out. We're not taking the flight no more. Because at that point, for me, if it gets to the point where I have enough time to drive home or I may be able to get the next flight, I'm just going to drive home and play it safe and just drive all the way back. You know what I mean? So you always have to plan for that if you're traveling domestically, right? And if you're traveling West Coast, if you're across the whole, like I live on the East Coast, if I travel to West Coast, that's a really long drive. So I wouldn't be booking a flight like the day before, right? If I'm traveling to the West Coast, then I'm flying back 2 days before. That way I have 2 days to get home, right? I always think about that. If you're flying internationally, you got to think about the vid. You got to think about the vid because I forget, I think it's either 7 days or 10 days or something. If you have to take a test, a COVID test before you get on a plane currently, right? If you're traveling into the United States, back into the United States, and if you test positive, well, now you got to quarantine. You got to quarantine for like a week or 10 days or some shit. I don't know, look it up. But there's definitely a quarantine period, and then you got to test negative. What do? You're screwed. So if I'm traveling internationally, I'm giving myself a 10-day buffer before my next event. I'm not leaving this country unless I don't have shit to do for the next 10 days once I get home. So like my wedding is going to be in Mexico. I took the whole damn month off. I'm not risking it for the biscuit. It's not worth it. You got to think about this stuff, especially when you do weddings, because you don't want to be screwed. You don't want to tell, hey, I went on vacation and it's not my fault. The plane got whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's not an excuse. You know what I mean? You got to plan for every possible. We're all about backup, right, people? Us wedding DJs are all about backup. This is another thing just to back up, Now, another thing, too, I wanted to note is do not post about any delays that you experience in travel on social media. Chances are your couples follow you, okay? For me in Memphis, we actually had a 3-hour delay. We were sitting on the tarmac in the plane for 3 hours. Communication error or some shit. I don't know. The plane, I feel like the pilot was bullshitting us. I don't know what the hell happened, but literally we pulled out and we go to the runway, and then we just sat there. And then an hour later, he's like, we're going to go back and fill up because we're running out of gas. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm bugging. And we sat in that plane for 3 hours until we took off. Now, trust me, I wanted to hop on my story. I wanted to tag American Airlines. I wanted to flame them and bitch my ass off because I was bored. I had nothing else to do. And it was bullshit. We're sitting on this tiny little plane for 3 hours. You know, it was my girl's birthday. I felt bad. It sucked. But if I would have posted on social media, if I would have went ahead and posted something and bitched out my flight was delayed, well, guess what? My couple probably would have seen it, and they were like, oh my God, is Nick going to make it to my wedding? I would have got a barrage of emails. Oh, is everything okay? Did you make it back safe? And it's unwanted stress for the couple. And I know for a fact they would have seen it because when I got to my wedding and I saw the couple, the groom was like, yo, like, you know, and he was talking about his bride. He's like, yo, she was bugging a little bit. She's like, is he coming back? Is he going to make it? Like, just the fact that I was on vacation. I said, no, I always got a backup plan. I would have drove if I had to. I had plenty of time, blah, blah, blah. You know, and that was it. But she knew. She knew I was in Memphis. She asked, hey, how was your trip? Everything. She knew. So if I would have bitched about a delay, that would have been a little bit of anxiety for the couple day before the wedding, you know? So don't post about it. Just think about it from their point of view, from their perspective, you know, when you're traveling and stuff, because they booked a DJ. They want you. They booked you for a reason. And God forbid you can't do it last minute. They're going to have to start all over with someone new. I mean, that's a very scary thing for any couple. So, you know, just think about that. But anyway, I made it home, and here's my weekend travels.